Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SNB Talking Sport. I'm your host, Spinksy, and we have a great show lined up for you guys again this week. Ness, welcome back onto the show. You're looking lovely tonight. Have you done something different?
It's called washing your hair, guys. I took Bo's advice about hair and I thought I'd do something with it. So
very nice.
Thank you, Spink.
Are you looking lovely, mate? Have you shaved or no?
No shaved. So Ness has just lied to everyone. My advice is to never wash your hair. Don't worry about that. So, what a way to start the show. Ness has lied to everyone.
Now, mate, you've been home alone for about 2 weeks now. How are you coping?
Oh, geez. Didn't know we had this in the pre-podcast meeting. That could have been brought up. Dude, to be honest, it's not as fun as I thought it'd be. I was like super excited. Yes, all this time to myself. PlayStation's going to cop a hammering. Maybe I'm just soft, but I was like, Jess, hurry the hell up and get home. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what the hell to do with myself. It's weird.
You're in love. That's sweet. Very nice. Very nice. Yes. I had a fantastic weekend, but we'll talk about that off air. So let's talk about the Socceroos this morning. I got up at 3:30 this morning, and I hope you guys did too. Yes, you did. Nice work. I've been a long-suffering Socceroos fan for about 37 years now, and I've seen some really bad stuff and some really nice stuff. And I've talked about how bad they've been on the show lately, and I was wrong. This morning, I was wrong. They played sensational game. The ball went into the area multiple times. They had heaps of chances to score. They looked like the more dominating team. They got a 2-1 win, which kept my multi alive for the Origin this evening, which is very good. Very good to see the Socceroos, and it was nice to be up early in the morning to start my day off that way. Now, they play Peru on Tuesday at 4 a.m., so that's going to be a much bigger task. So that's our final game to get into the World Cup. So we'll touch on that next week, but hopefully we're there or thereabouts again. But yeah, big shout out to everyone that was up at 3:30 this morning for the Socceroos. You guys are the best. While we're talking about soccer, now, Ness, your Liverpool team, they had it in the bag. They're going to win 4 trophies this season. They ended up not quite getting there in the league when Man City had the win there, but they went on. They went down 1-0 to Real Madrid in the Champions League final. Did you hop up to catch that a couple of weeks back?
I didn't, and I should have, and maybe given that they lost, maybe it was a bad, not a bad. I did. I also go for Real Madrid, so
here we go.
Yeah,
all the good teams, yeah. Oh, any of the Roosters fans.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, here we go.
Goes for the Lakers as well in the NBA.
I think if you're going to lose or have Liverpool lose, you want Real Madrid to beat them. So disappointing on one front, but yeah, it was. I saw the highlights. I didn't get up for it, and it seemed like a pretty good game.
Yeah. Look, they went on to win 2 trophies in the season. They won the FA Cup and the League Cup. So most teams around the world wouldn't have won that many. And I know they were a bit disappointed they didn't win more, but to win 2 that's awesome. That's good. So,
Brilliant.
Yes. I want to turn our attention to the tennis now. Now, the French Open just happened. Did you guys happen to see the ankle injury to Zverev when he went down to Rafa in the semi? It was
Yep.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I'm all for people. Like, obviously people have injuries all the time, but the way they kept showing it over and over and over again, like you'll see in sport all the time, the knees go, the ankles go, everything, and they just keep showing it. And I'm like, I feel physically sick. Like, surely there has to be a limit to it.
No, I get nerded out. I get super into it because I just want to see, not that I want to see the pain or what the player's going through, but just to kind of try and figure out what's actually happened. I'm a fucking loser, but
Well, you remember Jalen Smith, the defensive end for the Cowboys? He played for, I think it was Ohio State, and his leg went back the other way. And he did his MCL, ACL, and LCL in his knee. Did all three, and he had to learn to walk again. And I've still got that image in my head of his leg going back that way instead of it was nasty.
Yeah. If you ever want to see a nasty, like I am all for just watching an injury just to see what's happened. But if you ever want to see a nasty one, watch a Willis McGahee is his name, running back. I think maybe played for Miami.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst injury I've ever seen, which is a knee, and it goes like close to 90 degrees the wrong way.
Yeah.
And anytime I think of a bad injury, that's probably the one. It makes you feel unwell for sure.
That is nasty. No way. Right, rugby league now. There's been a few big games over the weekend. We didn't touch on this, but the Raiders, our local team here in town, finally had a win on the board. They're starting to climb the ladder a bit now. Who did the Raiders beat? Was it the Knights, the Sharks? No. It was the Roosters.
It was
the Roosters. How did it feel, Ness, to be at the game on Sunday in like -8 degrees and watch your team get beaten?
Before Ness talks, I'm going to interrupt. You should know exactly what it feels like to lose to the Raiders in Kansas.
That was weeks ago. Shut up.
So he wouldn't, because he doesn't go either. At least
Righto. As I said,
I don't deserve for Bo to be nice to me. I've never been nice to him. But I do like the Knights over the Sharks, so that's cool. It was pretty much the Arctic here over the weekend, and it was pretty tough. But you know what? The Roosters really suffer against the Raiders here. I don't know if the boys from Bondi struggle with the weather as much as the fans and the staff having to endure the game do as well. We just never seem to play well. I probably have seen 3 or 4 wins with the Roosters over my time against the Raiders here. So, look, it wasn't good. They played horrific, in fairness. The Raiders played pretty well. So, yeah, hoping that they build. They've got a pretty decent run with the Knights, the Dragons, Manly, the Panthers, which would be a tough one. So they've got a tough run home, but a good win for them. Good for the stadium. Not great for my tipping.
So while you're at the stadium, I was having a swim in the ocean. It was lovely. Yeah,
right.
It was very fresh. Yes, but we've had a few coaches get sacked in the last couple of days, which is really taken away from Origin, which starts in about an hour and a half. The surprising one for me, the Tigers let go their coach, Maguire, which was probably going to happen anyway. But Nathan Brown with the Warriors, he stepped down from coaching the Warriors and said he's actually going to stop coaching altogether, but he couldn't commit to moving his family to New Zealand. The Warriors have gone through so much in the last 2 years by having all their games over here. Surely, and that happened with Matthew, is it Matthew Lodge too? He said he couldn't commit to staying in New Zealand. And I'm like, that's like you signed for this team knowing that eventually your home would is there. I just don't get how guys can sort of do that and turn their back on New Zealand. Now, I don't think it's very fair. What do you guys think?
To be honest, and to put it bluntly, it's dog shit. I reckon it's so poor that you've got these players, which is 17 players plus the rest of the squad that is with the team that's away from their family and wives and kids and friends for however long it's been now, 2 years almost. And you've got a coach that's agreed to coach the New Zealand Warriors. It's just, don't sign the contract. And I understand the contract's worth whatever the piece of paper it's written on, but it's pretty dog shit behavior. It's poor. It shows a lack of leadership. And if you can't, and who knows how long they're going to be there. They're probably, I don't know Nathan Brown's contract. I'm not sure if it's up at the end of the year or next year or whatever, but what you're asking is for however many players to put in everything they've got every week of the year while they're in Australia playing, and you can't pack up and leave your family for a couple of months because you want to be around. It's pretty shitty, to be honest. I hate it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I think there's a big talk at the moment about. I think the Warriors are still here this year. I think they're at Redcliffe. I think, but there's a big talk about next year allowing them to be at home all year. So teams like ours taking their home matches from here over there, because that's once or twice. That's once a season that we're over there, and that means they can stay there as their reward for all the heartache they've gone through all this time. Like, they're not with their families. I'm sure some of them have their immediate family here, but their actual families aren't over here. So I think it's just a bit
100%. Give them the origin even.
Yeah. Yes, I mean,
give them something. They need to be rewarded for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems a bit shit that they've gone to this length to do that. But yeah, there's a few coaching jobs become available at the moment. Maybe the Knights will be up there soon too. So we'll see what happens. Now, in the next hour, State of Origin is on, the first one of the season. We cannot wait for this to kick off. Now, guys, I want your predictions. I want a score from you and who will score the first try. Ness, let's start with you first, our rugby league expert.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the one that tips so well each week. I actually, and you're going to kill me, but I actually think the Blues are going to go down today.
What?
Yeah. I you wanted a prediction.
Yeah, a good one.
Well,
something shitty when you do it.
Okay, next.
Yeah. I'm going 16 to Queensland, but I do think we'll score first, and I think Tedesco's going to cross the line.
Of course. Wow.
He'll be crazy on the weekend, so he'll be like, right, I'm taking charge here.
Oh, that was terrible. All right, Bo, what do you got for us?
Mate, if that was terrible, you're not going to like what I got to say.
Okay, we're done.
No, I honestly think, Queensland is going to win too, probably in a close game. And the reason behind it is, if you watch the whole of the series last year, almost everything with the football, what New South Wales done well, came through Latrell Mitchell or Turbo, Tom Travojevic. And without either of them, and without Josh Adokar, who was also a standout, I think it's going to hurt for sure. I would say we've got the better team, but just lacking that punch, which we had last year, of those two guys that just made everything happen for us, is certainly, like, that's going to hurt. And then a shout out to Queensland. They've got a really good squad this year, and they had a lot of guys that were out, but their coaching staff is Billy Slater is the head coach. And then they've got Jonathan Thurston, Cooper Cronk, Cameron Smith, all coaching all of the boys. So if your team, and I've said it before in podcasts, it doesn't really matter too much about the coaching when you get to Origin. Hello. As I was saying, like, it doesn't matter too much about the coaching when you get to Origin. It's more just about getting the boys to play. And when you've got four of the greatest players that have ever played coaching you up, and that's the last thing you hear when you run out to play a game of footy is Billy Slater, Cameron Smith, Thurston, Cooper Cronk. They'll have a game plan, and I think we'll be in trouble.
Yeah, look, I agree with everything you've said, but I think those four not being on the park, like, they're not actually there with them. They can strategize and do everything they can off the field, but technically they're not out there. I think New South Wales have a stronger forward pack, but I think Queensland are probably better in the backfield with Valentine Holmes and a few of the Cowboys up there. And I think they'll be a lot stronger. No. So, but I'm definitely taking New South Wales. I think New South Wales win in a tie contest. I think maybe 16-14, 16-12. Yeah, and first try scorer will probably be Valentine Holmes, I reckon.
I didn't give my score in first try score. Sorry, I'm waiting for the update to see who is actually starting. If Jack Whiten starts, I'm going Jack Whiten first.
Gross.
Gross. You nailed that whole piece. That was so good. Articulated and
so well, man. He's good.
Jack Whiten is a weapon. He's the most underrated.
Yeah, a wanker.
Well, yes. He was on the weekend, so yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
No, he's a good bloke.
Yeah, sure. Righto. Let's turn our attention to the Super Netball now. And my Swifts have gone down and are no longer in the competition this year. There is one round left. Actually, no, they can still make the finals if results go their way. I'm very sorry. I'm just doing my research now. Sorry. Yes. There's three other teams. Mathematically, there are three other teams. There are a chance. The Vixens are on top, and the Fever and the Giants, and those three will probably stay as they are. And the Magpies are in fourth, and there are three other teams: the Firebirds, the Thunderbirds, and New South Wales Swifts, who are a chance mathematically of making the finals. But it'll probably be those top four that go through. Ness, do you have anything else to add from my fantastic analysis of the game?
You sort of took everything I was going to say. Like, well played, Spence. I'm really proud of you. You, other than saying your Swifts can't make it, they narrowly missed out this week. They actually played the better game. But we do have to talk about, and I have the ugly this week, and I'll talk about a netball related thing. But my other ugly was going to be, and it's a real shame because I really like her. Sophie Fawns is a really young up and coming star. She's from Wagga. And she's been elevated into the team, and she had the chance to draw the game in the final seconds, but she passed it out, and Helen Housby, the goal attack for the Swifts, missed. Yep. So just a bit of inexperience, I suppose, in a really high pressure situation where, looking for the super shot, which the Swifts are renowned and they do really well at, and it has won them so many games. But it was a chance for her just to take a one under the post and level the game. Would have gone into overtime. Yep. And the Swifts are so good at the possession game, and I really think they would have come out on top. So it was a bit ugly. I felt for her because she just lacks that experience, but she'll be better for that situation.
It was tough to watch that one. I made sure I caught the game on Saturday. I had a few other things on, but I made sure I caught the game, and I was a bit upset in the end, but I managed to get over it. But hopefully they can get a win this weekend and maybe move into the finals. Now, Charlie, that was here earlier, her netball team, they had a 16-0 win. So through 7 games, they are now 7-0 on fire. And because of the way the school holidays are and the long weekends, they haven't got a game for like 5 weeks. So hopefully the girls can find their form and get back into it. And but as we know, we can't keep score, but they are smashing their opposition at such a young age, which is great.
My little kids won 42-15 on the weekend.
Oh, damn.
And it was a team that we only beat by 1 the first week we got moved up. So what they're proving, they don't need a coach. They are killing it without me, and I'm teaching them nothing, obviously, but far out, I'm super proud of them. Like when I saw the score come through, that's really good, really good.
Those peptides are really starting to pay off at a young age, huh?
Injections. Start them young. Let's quickly talk Super Rugby now. There were 3 Aussie teams in it: the Reds, the Tars, and the Brumbies. The Reds and the Tars all got beaten, and the Brumbies were down by a long way at halftime and actually come back to win their game. So the Brumbies are into the final 4. They go to New Zealand on Saturday to play the Chiefs, if I remember correctly. Look, it's hard to say they're a good chance, but they've shocked me all year with the way they've gone. So big shout out to you if you're a Brumbies fan, and all the best on Saturday. So, but something that is close to our hearts, and you guys especially, the Monaco Grand Prix was on last weekend. Take us through it. What happened? It is one of my favourite circuits in all of sport. There's nowhere to overtake. It's so fast, and the style is just there too. Guys, how was it?
Yeah, Ness, take the floor. I don't have too much to say about it. And if you think Monaco is your favorite circuit in all of sport, then you need to reassess yourself.
Yes.
It was probably the craziest race I have watched in a very long time. And I stayed up watching it. I had to actually travel to Sydney the next day for work, and I had a pretty early flight, and it was already late enough, and it got delayed like an hour and a half. So I was not thrilled that this race still hadn't started at 12:30, and I just could not watch it. and knew I wouldn't get to watch it for a few days. So just everything. It was a complete cluster, if I'm honest, for Ferrari. They changed Charles' plan of tyres, and he got stuck putting on tyres that weren't right, and got called back into the pits. Carlos heard all of that, and he was like, no, I'm making my own strategy, and basically told his engineer what he was doing. And it, you know, for all of the criticism that he's received, he actually got a podium for Ferrari and kind of saved the points a little bit. So probably credit to him. And look, let's be honest, he didn't crash. So that's also a really big positive. He didn't hit a wall, and there's no gravel, so that's also positive. Checo finished first, and kind of nice actually to see him able to race and able to sort of compete for that top spot. Verstappen really wasn't in it through practice, through qualifying. He just was really off the pace. And yeah, just it's one of those circuits though that's really hard to overtake. So any small opportunity, you have to kind of rely on a shonky pit stop to get ahead, and that's exactly what Checo did, because it was a slow lap from one of the Williams drivers, impeding, I think they call it, which caused Carlos to kind of lose a bit of time, and he probably would have won the race if not. So Red Bull took full advantage, took the points, and so Baku is this week. Ricciardo, actually, we should talk about Daniel Ricciardo. There is so much social media around the fact that he may not have a contract going into next year. He just has had a shocker, and I think the bad luck from last year has continued. He finished 14th or 15th in this race. Certainly, they're saying all sorts of things like they can pull the contract out from under him. So let's hope that doesn't happen for him. We know he's a quality driver. He loves this track coming up, so let's hope he has a really good qualifying and hopefully get him at least up into the points. I think would be really positive for Danny Rick. But it was a crazy race. It just was delayed, and there was like the one thing I'll take from it that kind of was laughing from an event perspective. There's all these guys that at the start of the race are changing tyres. So they actually had said that they gave the drivers and the teams more time to prepare because they hadn't done any of the practice in the wet. And it had just absolutely pissing down rain as the race started, or as the race was meant to start. And you're seeing all these guys just pushing each other out of the way with these tyre trolleys from like down ramps, down the circuit. And it's obviously it's like a road circuit. So they're just in the middle of these streets, just pushing tires rolling everywhere. It is just absolute chaos. And I just thought, seriously, in this day and age, have we not got this sorted yet? Like it was a disaster. And the commentators were like, what is going on? So do yourself a favor and watch that 20, 30 minutes of where the race was meant to be on and just the chaos, because it's actually really entertaining.
What did you say the race was this weekend?
Azerbaijan.
Because I just remembered the soccer this morning was in Doha, and which is where the hosting part of the World Cup at the end of the year. It was 47 degrees outside, and they've got the air conditioners in the stadium now. And there was vents. You know where they have like the advertising hoardings around the field? Some of them were vents that let air out, and there was air in the roof too. Yeah, and they said it was set at like 21 degrees inside. Yeah,
nice.
And there was a lot of people like there's a lot of people in full like full headdress, that stuff, and so they seemed comfortable, so it was good.
Yeah. They were saying one of the drivers lost 4.6 kilos in the Monaco race, just how hot it was on track and the conditions over there at the moment. They're going to die if they're losing 4.6 kilos in a race in Monaco when they go to Bath this weekend. They'll lose 7 kilos. But
ridiculous.
That stadium is amazing. A bit better than Gero Stadium potentially
at the moment. Yeah,
potentially.
Very nice. Now let's turn our attention to boxing. On the weekend, George Kambosos went down to Devon Haney, a guy named after a meat that your mum used to stick on your sandwich. Unfortunate for him. But Haney was fantastic. He's an incredible boxer. It went the full 12 rounds, but it never looked like Kambosos was going to win a round at all. Stellar fight, and really good to see after the fight too. Kambosos didn't really have anything bad to say. He was very humble in defeat. He let Haney have his moment. That boxers can be such arrogant assholes at times, even when they get beaten. But he showed a lot of class and maturity as he went on. So big shout out to him. But a guy that we interviewed on this show a couple of months back, Big Daddy Lucas Brown, he won in the knockout in the very first round. Now, though, I know you watched this fight, Big Daddy can just throw him, can't he?
Yeah, he did. And actually, the funniest thing I took about it was his post-match interview where they asked him if he's going to keep fighting and all that. And he said he can knock anyone out in the world. And his excuse his reasoning was that he's been too scared to throw his right hand because he doesn't want to hurt the guys he's sparring with, which I just thought was pretty hilarious. So he said, in his defense, he said, so he hasn't really been throwing it around, and he that was his plan coming into the fight, was just to throw haymakers really with his right hand, and he did. So credit to him, because he hit once and knocked the guy out, or knocked him off his feet, and the fight probably should have been stopped then. I forgot the name of who was fighting, but he shouldn't. Yeah, he got up and was still stumbling after like the 8 count, and even Lucas, Big Daddy Brown, was like, call the fight. We should not still be fighting. And then a few seconds later, knocked him over again. So he certainly dominated. And then he continued to call out Gallen after that in the post-game interview. So in the post-match fights.
He wants a rematch with Gallen. Now we have our thoughts on that fight after we interviewed him last time. But hopefully we'll get him back on the show and he can give us the real answer. So, yes. Right, it's time for the good, bad, and ugly. Now, Bo, you're up first, mate. You've got the good. What do you have for us?
Yeah, I've got the good this week, and it's a little bit of an insight into just how much of a loser I am, because my good this week is we're under 100 days away from the NFL season starting. And rookie NFL mini camp has started. You're starting to get some news. You wake up in the morning, there's Bleacher Report notifications on your phone.
I get the same thing. Oh, that's so cute.
There's stuff happening in the football world. And for me personally, because I'm shit at getting up, right? So when it's football season, you wake up and then you're like excited to wake up. So
look at like, what is that?
You look like me at 5 a.m. on a Saturday.
Over there. Sorry, carry on.
Charlie,
what is happening? What's happening in this madhouse? Yes, NFL. Yes, 100 days away.
Yeah, so mate, that's the good. Where it's 94 days or something to the season kicks off. That is something I mark on my calendar. Football season is around the corner. I'm going to be one happy man.
Yeah, and they've just announced the preseason games. I think they start as early as the 9th of August. I think is the first one. So there'll be some football to see from the 9th of August, which is always nice. Very good. I've got the bad this week, and it's not really bad depending on who you are, but I'll talk about the feud between Bernard Tomic and Nick Kyrgios that has been going on for like 2 weeks. This is a great, it is brilliant. Yeah, so so it all started. They've been sort of at each other back and forth. They used to be friends back in the day, and now Tomic seems to be falling down the charts. I think he's about 700th in the world right now, and Kyrgios is in the top 100, but he's not much better. And they're arguing over who's better at tennis. Apparently, one of them owes someone some money when they went to Paris, and he lost his wallet, and he owes him like $100 or whatever, right? Tomic has come out with the shits. Tomic's come out with the shits and said he'll play him for $1 million one game of tennis. And Kyrgios is like, no, I will beat you. So Kyrgios is offered to fight him in the ring. Now that's something I want to see. These two lanky idiots going at it in the ring would just be fantastic. Talking about who's the worst Aussie sportsman I've ever seen, either one of them two. And it's just back and forth on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And if you haven't seen it, go have a look because it's just hilarious. They're both just idiots. And I love to see it. The country hates the pair of you, so it doesn't really matter.
Whoa, the country minus Bo. I'm a big Nick Kyrgios fan.
Yes.
Love it. I'm glad you brought that up as your bad because I was going to raise it in the tennis segment earlier. Just as I was doing some research for the show too, and it was the first story that I saw, like these two just going off on every social platform. Yeah. So yeah, good one.
I think Tommy told Kyrgios is only famous because his brother owns Gold's Gym down here in town.
No, it's definitely not because of beating Nadal.
It's so good. No, it's the best. Yeah. Yes, because I've been at it for a couple of weeks now, and hopefully that keeps on going because it's so good. So yeah, that was not bad. Yeah.
My feeling was just Tomic is just doesn't he's not handling not being relevant anymore. Like that just seemed like a desperate media lunge, if you ask me.
Yeah, because I heard this morning, he's not even. You have to be ranking the top 500 to be part of the ATP tour. If you're under 500, you're in the Challenger tour. So he's in the Challenger tour, which has like tournaments like here in town and stuff. Like they're not really tennis tournaments at all. So
I'd back myself
against Tomic.
Yeah, easy.
on the court or in the ring.
Both.
Well, I'm so soft. I couldn't tackle a two-piece feed. Don't worry about that. We'll just
beautiful. I love that. Oh no, Ness, you got the ugly. What do you got for us?
Oh, we couldn't have the male model of Mawson getting hit by Tomic losing that good look. So don't do it, bro. My ugly this week is netball, and it pains me a little bit that this is the situation that we're in. But Netball Australia this week has announced that irrespective of where teams finish, the grand final will be held in Perth. And a little bit similar to how we were speaking earlier about the Warriors and getting some games over there. Perth have had it tough like everyone else has. But what effectively has happened is the Players Association have come out pretty unhappy about the fact that all of them have had to suffer through COVID and be in hubs and be away from their home teams, their fans, their families. And Netball Australia have therefore created this bidding war against all the venues. So from a personal work perspective, this is completely detrimental to the sport. And in the fact that it just rules out some of the smaller jurisdictions who won't get the chance to ever hold this event because they simply don't have the cash. Netball Australia have come out, they've said that COVID resulted in them seeing a loss of over 4.4 million, which if we're talking in rugby terms, they probably make that in a couple of games, but that's a massive blow. And there's actually 2 million of that came in after the new CEO started. So they're kind of not managing cash well at all, and selling off the rights to it was really just a cash grab and needing to financially keep the competition going. But the players have come out and they're really unhappy. So, these players associations have some form of voice, and really the competition doesn't have any leg to stand on if the players aren't happy. So I throw to you guys, do the players have a right to be kind of furious with this? Considering that they have done the travel, they've done time away from their family, friends, they're not able to play in front of their fans. I say this as a biased Vixen supporter, but Vixens are going to finish first. That's another year that they'll play another grand final away from home. So
what happens when your Vixens come top and the Fever finish second and that they get to host the final in WA?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Obviously unfair advantage to them, even though they finish second. My thing was, is this going to be an every year thing where it goes to the highest bidder? So say New South Wales finish last, but they've got the most money, they can host it.
100%. It's now just a bidding war against each state as to who wants to host it. So, and I totally get that. We all understand the finances with sport and that it's a business. but, I guess, and it's kind of, we started talking in the office today about this, about, when they take a game to a neutral venue for Origin, how do we truly feel about that? And we've spoken on the pod before about when we take a traditional game away from somewhere, I guess, how that feels. I don't know. I kind of think that it's a real win and a real benefit for the team that finishes first to be able to host their home grand final. And I think off the back of COVID, being able, for in this case, Melbourne was the most locked down city in the whole world. Yeah. The girls spent 15, 16 weeks to keep the competition alive, played their home grand final with no family and friends able to be present. They've killed it this year after not winning a game. And now they're all traveling to Perth. And for fans, and I've been reading some of the comments on socials, and wow, fans are blowing up. I myself, like, my Vixens are finally going to make a grand final again. And I looked into flights. It'll cost me no less than $1,000 to get across there. That's just flights and accommodation, not even the ticket price. Yeah. So I do it because I've got leave for days and, not cash to burn, sadly, but I do it because I love the sport. But that's a real impost to the fans going to the other side of the world, the country, sorry, to see it.
Yeah.
Well, close to the other side of the world.
Look, I'm a big fan of the sport in general. So if they can do this for a couple of seasons, would that then help them cut back that 4.45 they owe? Because I'd rather see the sport continue and grow into 9, 10, 12 teams rather than die in the arse. So is it not a good thing for the sport? Even though I understand that fans of certain teams will be upset that they can't have it in their home, but maybe it's a good thing. Yeah.
I'm with Spinks. Small-term sacrifice for a long-term game, right?
Yeah.
For a long-term game. It's just it's unfortunate, but if you're not a money-rich sport, you kind of do have to fall into the devil of what cash does, and hopefully it is just a short-term thing to make the sport better in the long term.
When I had this chat with my housemate, who's a professional athlete, she backed you guys in, and she said, well, it's my job. I'll get told where I need to play and what plane to catch, and you just got to do it. You just got to suck it up and be told where to play. So you are right.
Like, it's kind of different if New South Wales and Queensland take their Origin to WA, because it's no one's home. Whereas, as you said, you guys have gone through to win the comp, but the team that's going to finish second gets the host. That's kind of a bit shitty, because then they'll have the advantage.
Yeah. You make it
even though I still disagree, and sorry, Mess. Even though I still disagree, and it sucks for the viewer, but it's if you're taking the pinnacle of rugby league, like everyone pretty much understands that State of Origin is more exciting than even a World Cup. So you're taking the best thing rugby league has to offer and putting it in a state which no one really cares too much for, and that's going to be how you get customers, basically.
I think you're right, and I think we know fans who just won't watch a grand final, and Spinks was one of these last year that was like, well, if the Storm make it, I'm not watching. I know you were joking because you're just a fan of the sport, right? But
he doesn't even watch his own team, though, to be honest.
Well, this
I
is
watch
true.
my team every week. If it's Manly and Melbourne, I ain't watching. That's just how it is. I'm not going to watch it.
But the netball fans would we would genuinely watch any team, and I think that's because the history of the sport is not so rich. So, Perth are going to nail it. They've got an amazing venue, and it will sell out because, well, it's looking like it could be the WA team playing the Vixens at this point. But I think irrespective, it will be watched by a lot of people, so the broadcast will help. And I do think they'll still pack out stadium. But, I think just ugly in that, really, we know how these organisations work. They could have pretended to consult the players, which the players are cranky that didn't happen. They could have still made their decision, but they could have just done we all know what that collaboration and consultation is just they could have just asked them and pretended and have the decision already made.
I agreed.
Mm-hmm. All right, then. Yes.
That's it.
Nice. All right, let's talk about what we have coming up this weekend. The NRL, every team is back this weekend. Obviously, Origin's on very shortly, but every team has a game this weekend. So look for our 3 teams to get the W's this weekend. Can't wait. I think the Sharks have got the Warriors in New Zealand, over here, actually. That's good. So we'll have a win there, I'm sure. Super Rugby's down to the final 4 teams. Good luck to the Brumbies. Said no one ever. The AFL is going strong, and the netball is down to the final round, as we spoke about earlier. So shout out to the Swifts trying to get into the top 4, and your team has already secured the minor premiership. So you guys will be a hot favourite to go on to win the comp. And make sure you're up at 3:30, on Tuesday morning to watch the Socceroos in Chile. But we'll see you all again on Monday night next week. That's about it. Hooroo. See you guys next week.
Hooroo.
Take care, brush your hair.